man, because he is the one that is causing half the crime that we have. Not only is he participating in the crime, but we know that he instigated the insurrection. And if I did say that I had one issue with the Biden-Harris administration, it is the fact that they did not move forward and make sure that this man was put where he should have been put. Because the last time...
Hello fans, it's your boy DJ Harmonics. I want to welcome to another episode of Harmonically Speaking. We're here today to talk the drama, everything's going on with Stephen A. Smith versus Jasmine Crockett. I'm here to talk about it today. And I did a TikTok video earlier, I ain't gonna lie, it was controversial because I actually agreed with Stephen A. Smith and what he was talking about. And he basically, called her ghetto, and her points don't really come across well. And so, you know what, I ain't even gonna talk about it. I want to show you, so what I really want to do is show you this video. And I'm gonna put up the screen real quick.
What up, world?
So this is a guy named Established Rich Network. And I think of all the people that kind of broke this down, the feud, because I didn't want to spend an hour just talking about a feud. Like, listen, it's going viral enough. You need to know the details about what happened. I applaud you to go look it up yourself and then come back and watch this full video. But in reality, I really like how this guy broke it down, because unfortunately, most people are idiots nowadays. That's the problem with the TikTok video I did earlier, because I like to look at things from an objective view and take things at face value for how I see them, and I like how this guy really broke down the feud between two. So I want you to check out this video.
Established Rich coming right back at you. This one right here is a hot topic. The internet is buzzing, and I'm over here trying to find the middle, because I'm gonna be honest, this ain't an easy one to call. I'm hard pressed to pick a side because both of them have points. On one hand, I get where Stephen A. Smith is coming from. He saw something in Jasmine Crockett's delivery that felt counterproductive. But on the other hand, I get why Jasmine and her supporters felt disrespected, because even if you're making a valid point, it's all about how you say it and who you say it to.
That part I don't agree with. We got to start talking about how people say things and look at what they say. I don't like that. But I get what he's saying, though. I also can get what he's saying. Let's keep watching.
Tell you what gets me annoyed. And I hope Jasmine Crockett is listening to this. By the way, she's welcome on the show. When you go on national television and you call on the president of the United States out of his name, and you're being all disrespectful, as a representative in this country, do you believe the citizens of Texas sent you there to do that?
Anybody does need to clean up DC, I would agree it is this man, because he is the one that is causing half the crime that we have. Not only is he participating in the crime, but we know that he instigated the insurrection. And if I did say that I had one issue with the Biden-Harris administration, it is the fact that they did not move forward and make sure that this man was put where he should have been put. Because the last time I checked as a criminal defense attorney, and Mr. Attorney General, you may have a different experience, but I never had a defendant that had 34 convictions for felonies and did not spend one day in jail.
And I just want to say, I mean, seriously, Stephen A. Smith is in this spot where he's decided to enter politics and he knows nothing about politics. I'm being sincere about this. Nothing about politics. Nothing. I haven't heard one interesting thought from Stephen A. Smith politically, ever.
Got some breaking news out of Texas. Republican lawmakers have just released a new congressional map, and it does not include Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett's home within her own district. Let me say that again. They've redrawn the line so that Jasmine Crockett, one of the most outspoken Black women in Congress, is no longer living inside the district she was elected to represent.
He has now told Representative Jasmine Crockett that she needs to learn how to work with that man in the White House. The Constitution actually provides that the president has to work with Congress. You see, Congress is a co-equal branch of the government. As a matter of fact, congressional members can be there in perpetuity. They can be there until they die. A president is term limited, which once again is why the Constitution is built upon the principle of co-equal, brother.
I'm not here to tear either one of them down. I'm here to break down why both sides make sense and we're both.
The problem with this whole narrative I have is people saying Stephen A. Smith is tearing her down. I don't really look at it. I don't look at it that way. I more look at it as he's trying to get her advice. Weirdly enough, I look at it, he's really just trying to get her advice on how to help her get her point across better. Because I think somebody like Stephen A. has, as a Black man growing up and making the platform he has over the years he's had to fight white people too to get what he wants. And you have to come across a certain way in order to make change the one you want to make. Being loud and ignorant, more times than not, it's not going to get your point across. Anything, people just going to look at you like a clown. And as Jasmine Crockett is supposed to be the representative of Black women in America, Black women already had this bad stigma that they're loud and obnoxious, which I hate that for them, but that's what a lot of people think of when you first think of black woman in America. So it doesn't help that somebody with a platform like Jasmine Crockett plays right into the stereotype that people already believe about black women anyway, which I believe was Stephen A's point. Let's continue.
Sides might be wrong. Let's start with Stephen A. He been talking about everything lately. Sports, politics, relationships, religion.
He ain't lying.
And look, I respect the man's grind. Nobody outworks him. He's built himself into a brand. But there's a difference between having a tape and having the experience to own that tape. And sometimes when you stretch yourself too thin, you start sounding like you commentating just to commentate. That's what's happening right now. Stephen A done got so used to having a mic, he feel like he got to speak on everything. Every debate ain't your arena. You've been in sports for 30 plus years. That's your foundation. And that's where you built your name. That's where you're the master. But when you start jumping into politics, in the law, into the movements of black women in power, that's a different territory. And you can't bring ESPN energy into congressional conversations. That's a different game, different audience, different consequences. And in this game, one wrong word can turn you from respected to resented real quick. Stephen A said, is it going to help your district? And I know exactly what he's saying. Be strategic, be effective. But the problem is, the way it came out, it felt like a lecture. And when a black man with his platform starts lecturing a black woman who's been taking hits for years, it comes off like a pile on. Now let's talk about Jasmine.
Doesn't matter what it comes off as, no matter what it is. But I understand the outrage, what people can say about that. Because, you know, when you experience a certain realm, you can't come over to politics and talk the same way you talk when you talk into sports analysts. So he's right about that. That's why I really like this guy. I need to watch more of his videos. I like how he's pretty objective.
Because that woman is passionate, she's sharp, and she don't hold her tongue. She's built a reputation with fighting words. Sometimes too hard, sometimes too fast, but always on the heart. In a world full of people playing it safe, she stands on business. But here's the truth. There's a fine line between passion and self-sabotage. When you come at the president of the United States, even if you disagree, you still got to move with strategy. Because the real question ain't whether you're right, it's whether you're effective. And sometimes you can be right and still lose the room because the delivery overshadowed the message.
There you go. The delivery overshadowed message. When you try to talk loud and try to intimidate, especially white people on the Hill, everything you saying don't even matter. Then they look at you like, who the hell is this talking to? Like, for instance, I watched her her interview with the FBI director, Patel. I watched it, and you know, some of the things she was saying, you know, what wrong? You know, she's like an educated woman. I know, well, she got a doctorate, I believe. You know, so she's pretty educated. Nobody's saying she's stupid. She can't do her job. But the whole point that if she wasn't so loud and obnoxious, she wasn't so disrespectful to him, her point would have got across a lot better, and that would have been the storyline of the debate. Instead, people's storyline, what the media did was twist it and turn it, and look what the media did to that clip. You're gonna sit there and you're gonna listen to me, and you're gonna let me finish my conversation, and then you can answer. Like, you're not getting anywhere with that. And that's Stephen A's point.
No, she can't work with Trump like everything's cool, but that don't mean she can't pick her battles wisely. The goal is not just to fight, it's to win something for the people who sent you there. And if your words turn into a war zone, you can't build no bridge through that fight. So I get why Stephen A spoke up, but he got to understand, Jasmine Crockett already knows that. She's in the fight. And when you speak on her without walking in her shoes, you risking sounding like another critic, not an ally. The internet went crazy. Folks called Stephen A out, said he had black women issues. Angela Rye, Tiffany Cross, Andrew Gillum, they all spoke on it. Even Willie D from the Ghetto Boy called him out, called him weak. And when you hear that, you start to realize this ain't just about one comment. It's about a pattern that he too often targets women who speak their mind. Now, I'm not saying that's his intention, but perception is powerful. And the perception right now is that Stephen A loves to critique black women louder than he loves to praise them. And in 2025, that's a bad look. Here's why I stand. I'm not going to cancel Stephen A. Smith, and I'm not going to pretend like Jasmine Crockett can't be critiqued. But I'm going to say this. Both of them got to recognize the game they're in. She's in politics, he's in media. Both are public, both are powerful, and both require tact. You can't just fire off every thought and expect sympathy, because words have consequences, and everybody's waiting to twist yours. Stephen A. got to learn when to step back. Every topic ain't his to own, and Jasmine got to learn when to step forward strategically. Every fight ain't worth your energy. Sometimes the smartest move is letting somebody else be loud while you stay effective, because the win ain't always in the sound, it's in the results. At the end of the day, this whole thing shows us how fragile influence really is.
I agree with that. I agree with most of that. Like I said, I don't think Stephen A. Smith is totally right. I just lean more towards the side than it's really more about Stephen A. versus the people. I don't really have an issue with Jasmine Crockett outside. She just need to learn how to talk more strategically if she want to get things done in her position instead of trying to intimidate people all the time. Doesn't mean she's wrong in things she's saying. Doesn't mean she's uneducated, because my TikTok video, that's what everybody kept saying. They kept saying that you calling her uneducated, and she's saying you're wrong about everything. And then people saying I had to vote for Donald Trump, which I didn't. I voted for Kamala. I didn't. It's like, I think we're so triggered. They were so traumatized about things going on in America today. And I think the moment anything says anything negative, especially about a black woman or black people, period, it's like people can take the extreme take and just assume that you just hate them. It's like, no. It's like, that's the beautiful part about America. Everybody should have their own opinion and be able to go home at the end of the day. So, But I like this guy, though. I like this guy.
You can be loved on Monday and torn apart by Friday. You can be a legend in one field and still get lost when you stray too far out of bounds. And that's what Stephen A. is right now. He's a talented brother, a hard worker, a success story. But he's so busy trying to be everywhere, sometimes he ends up nowhere. And as for Jasmine Crockett, she's a warrior, a voice, a representative of the people. But even warriors got to learn when to holster the sword and pick up the strategy. So if you ask me who's right, both and neither. Because both of them remind us that passion without purpose can lead to chaos. And sometimes the strongest move ain't speaking, it's understanding.
I like that. Passion without purpose leads to chaos. I like that. I like that. That's something we all should hold dear. All right, man. I hope y'all like this video. I really hope y'all liked it. I want y'all to tune in for the next video. Until then, stay safe, harmonically speaking.